Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Today is a great day because today we begin wrapping the Fusion. So there's gonna be a good amount of stuff to do, but in case you missed it in the reveal video, we're gonna be wrapping this in the beautiful candy metallic gray purple from VinylFrog. It's basically like a really glossy gray that has a purple shift to it when the light hits it. It's gorgeous and I'm really excited to get it on the car. Also guys, I got some great news. We now have merch. I got together with my brother Preston and we made this design with the line "Cruisin' in my Fusion." I have the site linked in the description box down below, and there's t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, tote bags, and even a poster which I will be putting in my garage. Feel free to check it out. It would definitely help support the channel, and I have a ton more designs I'd love to put into fruition, so let me know what you think about these. Now back to the video. Honestly, the Fusion's probably one of the most beautiful cars wrapped because it has so many nice angles and lines on it. Definitely does the car a lot of justice. So this is a 2014 Fusion, but this is probably gonna be applicable to basically any second gen Fusion because 2013 to 2021, I think, are all pretty similar. Main differences are in the bumper, but the body lines and most of everything is basically the same. So because this is for such a broad range, I'm gonna do my best to get as much information and insight in here as possible. My buddy Leo, who's actually a professional rapper, is gonna be doing a house call to help me wrap this vehicle. He's basically gonna do all the wrapping. I'm just gonna, set up the shots and actually do some disassembly, which is basically gonna be the next step after we wash it. You wanna wash it first because you wanna get all the contaminants, dust, and different particles off of the vehicle. Make sure it's as smooth as possible so nothing is between the wrap and the vehicle itself. And then with that, you can get really nice finish. And you wanna use a power washer to actually just get inside all the crevices. If you don't have a power washer or the setup to do so, you can definitely just take it to a self-service car wash, get everything done there. It should be basically the same thing. To be honest, I haven't washed this car in longer than I would like to admit, so it was pretty bad. But there's still gonna be more to the process. We are going to clay bar it, get all the little micro contaminants out of there. One area you want to clean is up here under the hood because you're gonna have all the vinyl basically folding over and it gets pretty gunky in here pretty easily. Next, we're gonna get to disassembly. So I pulled the bumper off. As you guys know, I've showed you how to do this a ton of times, but if you're new to the channel and you're trying to figure out how to move your bumper, you have a couple tabs right here, some screws in the center, or I believe they're bolts actually. This basically tucks in, then you have a few bolts that hold in position, you can see right there, and then bolts underneath, one right here, one right there, and so on. You basically just undo those and then you start pulling this one out. Pretty easy. I'm gonna link a video in the top right corner of last time I did it so you can get a full breakdown because not necessarily the most in-depth thing, but definitely helps to know how to do it. And so to continue with this assembly, we're gonna be removing the side skirts and also probably need to remove these things from the hood. Now, I think I was one of the first people to do these. I was digging around forever looking for somebody else that had done it, but I couldn't find anything. So that was actually my very first video. You can see that on the Fusion, I put those on. Similar to how I did the taillights and the Fusion Sport Reloader Valance. I think I was the first one to do this as well. I know a bunch of you guys have it now, so definitely a cool way to kind of showcase what can be done to the Fusion. So the side skirts look very sad, but they're not gonna go back on the vehicle. We have Leo over here clay barring the vehicle because there's gonna be some little micro abrasions and just areas that could use some attention. This vehicle's already been washed and power washed on top of that, but it's not gonna be perfect. So that's why you get a clay bar because the finish of the wrap is glossy. So basically any little ridge is gonna give it a different look to it. He's over there hard at work. Definitely the best in the business. Right, Leo? About to take off the tail lights because we're basically gonna focus on this right side right now. You have any 2 words of advice you want to tell anybody if they want to do this themselves? Besides keep it clean?
Yeah, you need a nice bench.
You need a nice bench.
That's it.
That's it. You got a nice bench, you can wrap anything. And thankfully it's raining right now, so there's not much dust moving around. As you've seen in all the B-roll right before this, Leo's been constantly going back over it. And the roll actually comes with this little plastic piece, so you can stand up the vinyl just like that casually. You don't have to be moving it around every few seconds.
Since this is one piece all together, it goes all the way here.
Yeah, so basically we're gonna put one big panel and then we're just gonna do the specific cuts after that. So you can see right here it's pretty purple, then over here it's very magenta, and up here it's very pink, and then the vinyl's gray, so you can see that shift. It looks really cool. Hey Leo, tell us this. What do you think of the color? Do you like the color?
The color is nice.
Right? Alright, so we have Leo's approval on the color. Still not excited about getting this thing off. You can kind of see right here, it's basically just like an adhesive layer. I really wish it was a bolt-on kit. That would have made it a lot easier to get on. I know that the factory style spoilers are pretty easy because it's literally just the holes. We'll get it off though. Now you're seeing how smooth the vinyl can actually look. That's the reason we went to the body shop first. So we're getting light here on the front so you can see that purple, all the different shades over there. But as soon as you look to the back where there's not really a specific like light source, it just looks gray. It's kind of like the Nardo gray, but not exactly, a little bit lighter. But it's probably better for the color of the car because it's not so drastically different.
More expensive with chips.
Thanks, Dad.
Welcome, son.
Alright guys, so Leo just left and we had a very productive day one. As you can see, we essentially got half the vehicle wrapped, which I wasn't expecting to get this much done this soon, but definitely happy about it. So let me walk you through some of the progress, what we've been doing, what the game plan is for the rest. So here you can see we've done the quarter panel that actually stretches all the way up to the A-pillar, both doors and the fender. This piece right here is probably going to be the one that's a little bit more in depth because you do need to have a little relief cut right here and then one over here. Carry all of this all the way up here to the front. We did have this in position initially, but not necessarily to stay, just to kind of hold itself together. But the way Leo went about it, he definitely focused on this area, tucked this up over here, and then worked his way all the way back up. So the passenger side was done in basically one big piece, whereas for the driver's side, we're gonna do it a little bit differently, kind of show you guys a little bit more of what you can do, and do piece by piece, and basically go, say, fender, door, quarter that goes all the way to the front. Basically show you the two ways that you can go about it. Now, he is a professional, so he very much suggests that if you're getting new to this, do it piece by piece, because doing it all at once is a little bit more difficult to do. You gotta be very specific with your cuts and how you're really laying down the vinyl, but this is definitely gonna be the much more approachable one. So one thing he did say is the bumper we're gonna be doing last because it's probably gonna be the most in-depth, but he's with the same ideology that the upper and lower grille should be different colors, so we're gonna wrap those gloss black. And I'm gonna pair that with the mirrors and the door handles being gloss black as well. Nonetheless, it is getting a little late. Leo got here at about 7, it's about midnight now. So to do all this disassembly, the quarter panel, both doors, and the fender, it only took him about 5 hours, which is pretty impressive. The garage is a little messy. It's not dirty, it's just messy in the sense that all the pieces that we've been using are just kind of thrown about, which, I mean, we're gonna need them tomorrow, so it doesn't make the most sense to clean it up. So I'll see you guys then. And we are back for day 2. Now again, this side's gonna be a little different. This is gonna be piece by piece as opposed to the other side, which was basically one big piece of vinyl and cutting it into sections. But he also said the Fusion's a pretty good candidate to get wrapped because you just remove the mirror, the door handles, and then the little chrome trim on the underside of the windows, And you can basically wrap an entire side. So as you saw on the other side, I guess you can throw the taillights in there as well. But as you saw for the other side, that's basically all we removed, and we were able to get all that done. It also says the vehicle's pretty easy to work with because it's a pretty flat surface. You do have, granted, the curves around the wheel well and the taillight, stuff like that, and then the body lines right here, of course, but they're not very drastic. The approach he took was working up to down, kind of started up here and just kind of smooth it out. So that way you can make sure to get the curves just right and get everything laid down properly. Of course, the bumpers are gonna be a little bit more hands-on, specifically because they are, you know, an entire wrapped piece, but that's gonna be any project that deals with vinyl just because it's, you know, it's not flat, it curves around. He did say that we'll probably be working with some inlays, specifically on the trunk. I'll probably put an inlay here on the inside so that there's not too much tension, because if there's too much tension, you risk the vinyl peeling up. I'm gonna get to removing the main three pieces in the mirror, the door handles, and the lower window trim. I can use the other pieces as reference to show you guys what you're specifically looking for, because it doesn't seem too in-depth. He was able to walk me through it pretty casually, so let's go ahead and get started on that, and hopefully it all comes out okay. He did say that if I can't get it, he'll take care of it, but I at least want to see if I can pull my own weight. So for this window trim, he said that it's basically just two screws. You have one right there, and one further in right there. It's basically just unscrewing those and then pulling it up, more or less. All it is here, you can see it has one opening for screw there, and one on this side, and that's basically it. Now for the door handles, you are gonna need to remove the door panel on this one, not for the door handles themselves, but for the mirror. Let me see if I can get it off. All right, so you can see the screw in there. He says that that screw, you basically just start undoing. So you're gonna pull this up just a bit and you're gonna be unscrewing it, and it actually won't fall or anything. It has a stopper. And so once it reaches as far as it can go and it stops, you're gonna maneuver it out, which it basically goes like this. So this side has this little piece that kind of curves in, and you just maneuver it out. And this piece over here is separate, but it should come out as well. And this is what it's looking like just as is, so it's pretty dirty. Now here's my door panel that's been removed. You have one bolt that's basically behind there. There's basically a cover, you just pull the cover off, and there's that one bolt there. You can see there's holes for two bolts right there. And then at the bottom of this, I believe, yeah, you got two more right there. So you remove those, basically you just start lifting up and kind of trying to undo some of the clips, and that's how you remove the door panel. If you've never done it before, it's probably gonna be a little brittle and you're gonna need to work with it a little bit. Thankfully, I did a full swap from tan to black, so all those pieces have been removed and whatnot. So I have a little bit of an easier job. Now once you've exposed all the hardware for the mirror, it's 3 bolts right there and then 1 plug. And to show you what it looks like inside, you have 2 right here and 1 on that side, which you can kind of see. My phone's a little in the way. And the plug right there. And make sure to clean in all the crevices and basically anywhere that vinyl is going to get tucked into. And the reason for that is because that will help it stay in position. You can see here it's been tucked into this little piece of weather stripping, and if it's dirty under there, it's not going to hold. So you want to make sure to really take your time with it. A 69-inch piece for the hood. What do you think is your favorite part to wrap?
I like everything.
But if you had to pick one that you were gonna do, like, say every day.
The hood. Because that is like, since it's a big part, then it's like, yeah,
You can really feel it, and you know it's gonna look good. You can see like right here, it looks very gray, just because there's no like specific light hitting it. But then whenever you actually get the angles, that looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, no. Wait until it's outside.
Yeah, I want to, like, I think the first thing I'm gonna do, they built a new racetrack, not an actual racetrack, but the gas station racetrack.
Yeah.
They built it over there, and cause like, yeah, basically the closest area you are to the car, it's gonna be purple right there. The further away you are, it's gonna be gray. And it's just cause you're gonna see the reflections of the light, you know. It was a very productive day too. Got about another 4 hours in or so. Got a lot of the driver's side done, did the fender, both doors, and we also did the cutout for the quarter panel, but we were also able to wrap the hood. So all that's left right now is the front bumper, rear bumper, the trunk, and then this little rocker panel right here. So a lot of progress. I need to specifically start disassembling the bumper because it has a lot of different pieces. It has the upper grille, the lower grille, fog lights, the 3D carbon lip, and then of course the little emblem. Main thing being the more disassembly you do, the more coverage you'll get. And then we are going to have offsetting colors. So the upper and lower grille are going to be wrapped in a gloss black to accentuate the chrome delete. And then we're also going to wrap the door handles in a gloss black as well. And if you remember, whenever I actually did the front emblem, I decided to just go with the adhesive based method so I don't have anything behind it, so it's easy to just kind of take off. Then all these other pieces are going to be a bunch of clips and whatnot, which not necessarily that big of a deal, more just, you know, a little finicky and whatnot, but definitely very doable. So we're going to go ahead and get to doing that.
The good thing about this trunk is like it's in 3 sections.
Gotcha.
So there's one here, you see. There's another one here, and then the one I'm doing.
This is one piece that leads to the top. This is another piece. This is an inlay, and then this is the third piece, right?
Yeah.
Or fourth piece.
The only one inlay.
Okay, and it's basically this part behind the license plate. Yeah, I don't know why, but like this looks like super reflective. I think because it's like so close to the wall, you can get like a good bit of like the glossiness in there. It's actually like, that looks like paint. That is crazy reflective. Today is day 4 of wrapping the Fusion. Got a good bit of progress done. We've got the hood done, both fenders done, all 4 doors, driver's quarter panel, a passenger side quarter panel as well, and then we have the trunk. So all that's really left to do is the rear bumper, front bumper, and the driver's side rocker panel. Other than that, it's just gonna be like the grills and chrome delete, stuff like that. Keep in mind, we're doing this at the end of the day when we all have free time. But if you were doing this, say, like a weekend and you had like a Saturday and a Sunday all day, you could probably get a lot more progress done, or at least get to the point we're at in just 2 days. If there was more availability, we would definitely be able to knock out a lot more consistently. But granted, we're not trying to rush anything, trying to make sure it looks as good as possible, so I'm really happy with the way it's coming out. So this is an inlay that Leo set. This is the inside section of the trunk. And this is basically because you don't necessarily want to have it like folded over and then like folded in, because that'd put a lot of tension on it. This way you can just wrap around it and you don't have to worry about anything stretching, and this way you get a nice clean look to it as well, because you don't really even see the little line. Like, it's there, but you're not really gonna notice it. 123? It really doesn't seem that long, but I mean, I trust the measurement.
No, it's because
It wraps
it is
around.
long. It
Yeah.
wraps around.
This is how the car is looking now. You can see we have trunk all done. This side's already been fixed up, so this side already got the chrome delete. but he's gonna show me how to do it, so maybe I'll get to do a little bit. Door handles are gonna be wrapped black. Mirrors also gonna be wrapped black. And it's basically just the bumper that's left, and it's kind of like the main component. Then the rocker panel right there. And I know the chrome delete is one thing that a ton of you guys are telling me to do. I've been wanting to do it, but I wanted to do a little bit more to the car before I got there. But you can see it's actually super easy to do on this vehicle, says Leo. And one thing of note for this specific install is I do have the lip that basically covers the bottom section, so we're not gonna need to go all the way down because it's just gonna be covered with this piece. And I think I might get this one wrapped in black, or the center section just wrapped in black, so it has a little bit of an offset. Kind of what I've seen online, I really like that. So we wrapped this on the bumper, but we didn't cut the top because we're basically gonna wrap the top over it. You can get a lot of sense of just the dynamic of the color, just literally on this piece. It looks really cool. And this is gonna be wrapped in a matte black that Leo will bring at some point in the future. I feel like gloss black, it'll get dirty a little too easily, but with the matte black, it'll look a little bit more casual and contrast the front end. Because we're gonna have a lot of gloss black on the vehicle, so we're gonna have mirrors in gloss black, the door handles are already in gloss black. The spoiler is gonna be in gloss black as well. Then the roof is gloss black. I just think it'll look cooler. If you guys have anything that's stuck on by double-sided tape, like say you're removing emblems because you want to get that smooth look, definitely look into getting an eraser wheel. We got this one from Advanced Auto Parts. It basically just kind of removes all that residue. And you can see right there in the picture basically what it does. We're using this one specifically for the backside of the 3D carbon lip because it does have the double-sided adhesive, which is basically how it kind of sticks in position. And this is basically just to remove all the other stuff because we had to actually manually do the bumper because obviously it's going to stick into both sides. And this will be for the inside section, so it'll be a lot easier and we'll be able to kind of have a much more feasible process. And the way this basically works is it comes with this little attachment so you can put it on a drill and basically just spins. It basically gets off all the adhesive without really having to do too much work. It's just gonna keep spinning and just brush it all off. And for small things like these emblems that you might not know how to get off, I do have videos where I go pretty in depth about it. So rather than just kind of doing a quick recap on how to do it in this video, I'm gonna link those in the top right corner just so you can get all the information you need because it's relatively simple to do, but it would make this video probably about 10 minutes longer to really just explain everything all together. Plus now, it's basically just on with double-sided tape, which makes it a lot easier to get on and off, which is perfect for situations like this. So Leo's just cutting out a strip of the gloss black that we're gonna use for the chrome delete. Basically, you'd wanna have less material as opposed to more because it's easier to like maneuver, right? Yeah. Then one more for this little edge piece. So basically you cut like, say like a square, and then you just cut out the, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's it.
And there you go. So you pull the tape.
You basically you just start on one side like that. And then you just follow like this, see? And you come and grab more. It's better if you have a glove, obviously. This is slides, then you cut it right here, that way you can use it for the bottom.
So basically you just kind of position it as you pull back the layer.
Press it really hard with the where you're gonna make you cut. You don't have to do a cut on the top, it's fine because you can hide it there with the gasket. But if it's not clean, it's gonna start coming off. So see right there?
Yeah.
You can use your fingernail or a little tool, but I should have it here. Use something like this.
A little tool like that to get it in the crease.
Yeah, just to kind of mark whatever you're gonna cut.
And then that's, you follow that line to cut it.
Yeah.
Seems easy enough.
Let's follow the line.
So did that make like an indentation for the knife to follow?
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
Well.
Easier.
Yeah. Make sure you get good light, because by looking at one point, you get kind of like, you know what I'm talking about, like not blind, but you see different lines.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Well, that was literally 4 minutes in runtime on this camera. I've seen little like rolls of what looks like tape at
I
like.
have that too. It works, but you're doing this, but you can't.
Good
you
point.
have to have a big piece, or you can cut it here
And then you'll have like a little line right there the whole time.
which is still works.
It works. It's just it's not gonna look as good as this.
Yeah, usually, I mean, nobody's gonna go and look at it. Oh, look at this, you got a seam in there.
I mean,
oh, I don't see a seam.
I might be that guy now. Just I go to car shows, I see chrome delay. I'm like, is there a seam here or not?
So when it's done, all you gotta just do this, and then you come back and get the other one here inside. See?
That's pretty cool. Also, if you are wrapping at home, definitely take the time to get the proper equipment. Leo specifically suggests a 30-degree knife, a wrapping glove, and then on top of that, a squeegee, because there are a ton that you can get like online, but a lot of the other cheaper ones aren't really gonna do the best job, and they're gonna go bad pretty easily. Well guys, today is finally the last day that we will be wrapping the Fusion. Because we are wrapping this at my house, we've had some hiccups here and there. Basically just needing to get parts and tools and whatnot to actually get everything done properly, and don't always have everything ready, so we need to go to the store and basically, you know, push everything back, and it's just kind of a whole little cycle. But everything is pretty much wrapped now, so let me go ahead and give you guys a walk around so you can see what it's looking like. So just to kind of catch you guys up where we are, so did reinstall this 3D carbon lip and fully wrapped and everything. We did have the double-sided tape, and we basically did all that properly so that it can hold in position. And I also got this in a matte black just to kind of offset it a little bit, because there's gonna be a lot of gloss black. I don't want it to just kind of be like gloss black overkill. So I think that balances it out pretty well. And we still have some hardware to put back on this, but the bumper itself is looking really good. The grills, however, have not been wrapped. Those are gonna get wrapped today, but Leo said it's a lot easier if they're on the vehicle. So I'm gonna put these on the bumper, then put them back on the vehicle so we can go from there. The rest of the vehicle, you can see, is looking pretty complete, except for the gas cap. I think we forgot about that, but it shouldn't take too long. And we did put these little clamps on just to hold it in position, because it is just double-sided tape. So I want to make sure we get the best bond as possible and make sure everything stays sturdy and secure. If you guys remember, I made videos on how to remove and paint these and basically have them be a custom piece. So one of the things that I did is I actually just did 3M double-sided tape on the back. I took it off already for this one, but that actually made it to where it was a lot easier to get off and put back on. So that was one of the things that I did really want to highlight, because in this scenario it made the removal of these pieces super easy, and all I actually had to do was basically pry it off, which didn't take much effort at all, but it still held up great in whatever weather. So I definitely recommend this. And I'm gonna go ahead and make a playlist over here of just various aspects of disassembly, things that I've done that can kind of show you a little bit more in depth of how to remove things. So I'll definitely throw these in there, the tail lights, interior aspects, the bumper, basically everything. So if you're wanting more insight on how to disassemble various aspects of your car given by me, this is a playlist right there. I definitely think these colors are gonna work really well together. Bumper's on and it's all complete and everything, and now I just need to put these on. I already taped them up and everything. So now I'm just gonna poke these holes through so you can see the little indentations. Well guys, as my dad's been saying constantly, that's a wrap. So we are done. The grill has been blacked out and the gloss black looks gorgeous. 3D carbon lip's been installed. Everything's been wrapped and accounted for. Main thing is there's still some reassembly to do. Gotta put the bumper back on and whatnot. But first, before actually putting it back on, I'm gonna take it off again because it's on the ramp. And if I leave it on, it'll actually scrape as I'm coming down. Don't want that. And I also have to put the door panels back on. This bumper looks so nice now. Definitely adds a lot more depth. I definitely think it was a good call blacking out the grill and going for that gloss black, and then contrasting that with the matte black and the 3D carbon lip.
All the pain.
so now that I've got the car completely wrapped, I can give you a little bit more insight as to what it was like actually working with this film, because online it's very, very vague, just says it's more difficult to work with and whatnot. And I was actually able to pinpoint why, and I got some perspective from Leo. So I can definitely give you a lot more insight if you're wanting to do this yourself and kind of answer some questions that I'm sure you guys were having. So one of the things that you'll read a lot online is that it's harder to work with, which doesn't really make too much sense for me. Like, it just kind of makes me think that, you know, you're gonna need more manpower, but that's really not the case. So whenever they say it's harder to work with, at least for this specific vinyl, it's really just in the glue, because most cast film usually has a pressure sensitive glue, which you can kind of move it around, and then once you get the squeegee on there, that's whenever it's gonna like really hold in position. Whereas calendar film has about the same amount of stickiness regardless of whether you press it down or not, which does make it more difficult because you do have to move around piece by piece. Still definitely doable. Rather than just doing the entire piece, you might just want to do it section by section, just kind of how Leo did it. And it's basically just getting familiar with working the vinyl. But because you do have to pull it off and whatnot, there's a chance of dust getting in there, but an easy fix for that is just wetting the area around the vehicle and making sure it's clean, so there's not really much dust flying around, and it really mitigates that problem. The other thing that I would read a lot online is that it doesn't really stretch, which I didn't really find to be the case. I can see why it might not stretch as much as cast film. Cast film is pretty stretchy pretty easily. But this film was definitely stretchable. As you saw with both bumpers, me and Leo were actually able to stretch it pretty easily and get really solid coverage and really good lines. While it probably isn't to the extent of cast film, it's still very doable. As you saw, like me and Leo would actually be able to stretch a good bit for whatever panel it was that we were working on. And then on top of that, while I did sit next to him the whole time and make sure that, you know, he was good, and if he needed any help, I was right there, my involvement was pretty minimal. I'd probably say only about 5% just in stretching the vinyl and then just moving where he told me to. And honestly, that was about it. So this film from VinylFrog is definitely stretchable. That's basically all I have for like the notes. Other than that, it's really, really good looking vinyl. I'd say the main thing is Leo just could not get over the fact that it looked just like paint. He kept commenting that it looks really, really good, to the point where I was even showing it to some of my friends, and they wanted to touch it because they wanted to see, you know, how it felt and whatnot, because it lays down very, very smoothly and has a really glossy finish. Then another really cool thing about this film is it does have an air release system, which makes it a lot easier to work with, because that does make it to where you don't have to be perfect on every single area. You can definitely squeegee it out. Granted, you don't want like super big air bubbles, but it definitely makes the process a lot easier and a lot more friendly to somebody that's wrapping, because that's what they're used to. So the fact that it has that system helps out a ton. And then another really good thing is there's plenty of vinyl. Granted, I didn't wrap the roof because that was already wrapped, but I have plenty left over, and we weren't doing it trying to save vinyl. We were definitely going about it just, you know, trying to get the best coverage that we could. Then the color is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I was driving it around yesterday, and you could definitely see a lot of that shift. I'd say that it's really cool because you can see in some scenarios where it's predominantly gray with like those purple highlights, and then other scenarios it's just very, very purple. Definitely something you should see in person, so I'll see you guys at Fusion Float with the car. By the way, I haven't put the spoiler on because I'm experimenting with it. There's something I'm trying to do. If I can get it done, I'll make a video on it, and if not, then I'll just put it back on like normal. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you, and as a reward, I'll show you a little sneak peek of the wheels because I'm ready to get them on the car, but I do have these next 2 weeks. I'm going to be very, very busy and be driving a lot. So rather than breaking them in constantly driving, I'd rather wait for things to calm down and then put them on after that. Let's go check them out. Here are two of the spokes. Alright, that's all I want to give away right now. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the link in my description if you want to get some merch. I'm also sorry this video took a little bit longer than anticipated. We just had a lot of hiccups with the scheduling and everything. I want to say a big thank you to VinylFrog. The car looks amazing. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one.